go out on a pretty sturdy limb here and make the assumption that probably every person in this room has at some point or another thought about or given some concern to how we're looking as we're aging.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you. We live in a world where we're not just expected to be awesome wives and mothers and friends and sisters and great business people and really good at what we do, but we're also expected to look good while we do it. And that's a lot of pressure. And the beauty and anti-aging industry reflects it. It's a $1 million industry that inundates us with different products and treatments every week. And these can be from really invasive, like surgeries, or things like potions and lotions and creams that might not do anything at all. And what they all seem to lack is a key fundamental point of great anti-aging skincare, which is balancing the body, cell function in the skin and in the body. And this comes from not just a topical product or an invasive procedure, but actually changing what we're doing. It's not just a physical layer, but it's a mental piece and an emotional piece and a spiritual piece, which all connects to who we're being. So who we are shows through, and that can be attributed to attractiveness as well. When they study beauty and attractiveness in science, it's all about symmetry, because we're showing people photos and what they find attractive is symmetry. But none of this takes into account who that person is or who they're being. And we all have this experience where you might meet someone who you saw a photo of and they look really attractive in the photo, and you meet them and you get to know them and it turns out that they're a total jerk. Like, this person is completely awful, and then that colors our perception of them and they become unattractive because of who they're being. And the opposite is also true, where somebody we might not have swiped right to on Tinder because of their photograph, but we get to know them, and because of who they're being, and because they're holding their light in their body and showing it to you and being their truth, they become attractive regardless of the physical appearance. So how beauty is not just what your skin looks like. It's not just how many wrinkles you have or don't have, it's who you're being. And so we're going to do a little meditation so we can tap into what our next step is to connect ourselves to our truth. So I'm going to have everybody close their eyes. And take a deep breath. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now I'm going to have you imagine the center of the earth. And you can put anything down there you want. It could be the traditional hot lava, it could be crystals, or a fairy garden, a bunch of puppies, molten fountain of cheese. Exactly. And you're going to connect yourself to the center of the earth with a grounding cord. This cord connects to the base of your spine, your sacrum, and into the center of the earth. It can also be made out of anything you want, any color, any texture, any material. Make sure it goes all the way down. And you can make it as wide as your hips. This is a grounding cord. You might have another way of grounding as well. This is another tool. And as the namesake implies, it helps keep us grounded. But part of being grounded is that we're in present time. So when we're concerned about the past, that can actually contribute to depression. And when we're worried about the future, this contributes to anxiety, neither of which we have any control over. We do have control over how we're being about it. And we can do that when we're in present time. Now imagine your bubble of personal space, or your aura. There are a lot of people in this room who do this very well. And even if you don't think you're one of those people, you can still see it and imagine it. You can make that space bigger as well, because spiritual space has nothing to do with physical space. And on the count of 3, you're going to see all of the stuff that's in your bubble of space that doesn't belong to you. You might see this as colors or shapes or things, or just sense that it's there. 1, 2, 3. All of this doesn't belong to you. We kind of pick it up as we go along if we don't clear it actively. So we're going to let all this stuff go. And we're going to let it go down the grounding cord to get recycled in the center of the earth into new energy that's right for someone else or something else. So on the count of 3, we're going to let it all go. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to let in more of our truth and our higher self. And this frequency comes in through the top of the room as a gold toe. And it's aligned specifically for each of you individually. So let that flow into your space through the top. Now that we're clearer and we're more in a state of choice and present time, we can use our intuition a little bit better. So you're going to see a screen out in front of you like a drive-in. And this we can call our intuition screen. And on this screen we're going to see a number from 1 through 8. You might hear the number or sense the number or feel the number, and your intuition is usually pretty quick about it, so you don't need to second guess. So on the count of 3, we're going to see a number on that screen. 1, 2, 3. And we'll get into what that number means in a minute. Keeping your grounding cord attached, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. Did anybody not get a number? You have a 4.
Huh?
Your number's a 4.
My number's 4?
Yeah. Does anybody else not get a number? Good. So in Chinese medicine, we have concepts of the soul or the spirit, and there's actually a few different ones that all come together to make a whole person. And they're all connected with different organ systems in the body. And the main one we call the shen, and it's connected to the heart. And it shows through our eyes. So our spirit actually connects into our body and shows through our face. When someone's shen isn't present or isn't grounded into their body, we can see them as being dull or lifeless looking. On one extreme, they can be totally crazy or multiple personalities even, because their spirit isn't here. And we can also see them as being unattractive. So that connection to your spirit and holding it in your body is really important as for how we look on the outside. So the numbers we got are correlating to a next step that is offered for you to take on getting to know your truth and your true self. And it's an area of life where you can pay more attention to see where you're losing your true self and where you're holding it better, and how you can make adjustments to make that part of your life on a day-to-day basis. And all of these apply to everybody, but the one that you got is what's current for you right now. So if you have a 1, your next step lies in your relationship with yourself. So how do you talk to yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you hold your vibration on a day-to-day basis? If you have a 2, your next step lies in your relationships with one-on-one other people. So what relationships do you have in your life that make you lose your space, and what ones make you keep it, and what ones foster you being your true self in a better way. If you have a 3, your next step is in groups. So a group like this, or your family, or your work environment, or women in general, or men in general. Which groups are you a part of that help you be your true self, and which ones don't? If you have a 4, your next step is in humanity. And this one's a tough one because humanity is going through some really difficult growth periods right now. And it's easy to lose our space to the news and what's going on in the world. So we have to get grounded and hold on to ourselves, because that's the way we make real change, is being our truth. If you have a 5, your next step is in nature. So maybe you need to get out into nature more, or maybe you need to notice the nature that's all around you all the time. And if you have a 6, your next step is in awareness. So we all have a lot of awareness, we just don't like to pay attention to it because it can be things we don't want to hear. So how are we ignoring some messages that we get and holding on to others? If you have a 7, your next step is in your spiritual guidance. There are a lot of people in this room that can help you with this. So maybe it's finding a new person, or maybe it's a spirit guide that doesn't have a body that you can connect to, or maybe you need to let go of another. And if you have an 8, your next step is in your connection to Source, or Creator, or God, or the all that is. When we lose that connection, it's really difficult to get connected to our truth, because they're all kind of in a line together. So all of these are suggestions of ways we can make little adjustments on a day-to-day basis so that we can get to know who we are. And when we get to do that, we connect to our true self and we show that forward. This is what beauty is. It's getting to know who you are. There's a quote on the back of one of the altar cards on the table that talks about this, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But we get to know who we are, and we show that out to everyone. This one from Thich Nhat Hanh. Beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. And when we do this, it doesn't matter what the condition of our skin is, or how much we weigh, or how our clothes fit, or anything physical. It's all about who you're being. And when we go out in the world and be that person, we also get to show other people that they get to do it too, which is where that healing happens on a bigger scale. Thank you.